Greyhawk Grognard here. If you like the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notified. You know, all that other good stuff that all the channels say. And feel free to visit my blog and my Patreon. Links are down below. Now, enjoy the show. Greyhawk Grognard here. And today I am going to do, as promised, my review of Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil. Yes, we hit the 750 subscriber mark, and so as promised, I'm going to give you my review. I could just play the clip of "It stinks" from the critic, but I won't. But let me start with something that I actually like about the module before I go into the rest, and that is what they do with Hommlet. Because this module takes place 10 or 15 years after the original Temple of Elemental Evil adventure, so there's been a lot of growth, and things have changed in the environment. And what has happened is Hommlet has turned from a very, very small village into a town, basically. Bernie and Rufus have finished their castle. A lot more people have moved in. There's a lot more buildings and places and things like that. Some of the old NPCs are still there, and they've suitably been advanced in levels and stuff like that. So the map is good. There's a few little things they did, in my opinion, a little wrong on the map. Things that got moved or changed or something that doesn't really make it a lot of sense. Like the walls of Bernie and Rufus's keep are just a little off in places. That's a minor thing, though. On the whole, I think that they did a really good job with the village of Hommlet itself, and so I'm going to give them credit where it's due. There's also one other quick thing that I do like that they mention in the module, and that is the summoning of elementals. There's a chance that you're going to get an evil elemental who is actually in league with the temple, which is, I thought, a really great idea. I might expand that by turning them into elemental grooves, or one of the grave elementals that they have in Ravenloft. But I thought that was also a really good idea. So credit where it's due. Okay, so let's get the big one out of the way, and that is the fact that, spoiler alert, in this module, it kind of retcons everything that happened in Temple of Elemental Evil, and for that matter, in Vault of the Drow and Hall of the Fire Giant King. It's far reaching. By making Tharizdun the real bad guy, and the Elder Elemental God is just an aspect of Tharizdun, and the original priests of the Temple of Elemental Evil thought they were serving the Elder Elemental Eye, but they were really serving Tharizdun without even noticing it or realizing it. And even demons don't know that they're giving spells to his priests instead of theirs. Oh my God, it is just a mess. And it's also completely unnecessary. That's the thing that really frosts me about this idea, is that it was completely not needed. If you want, you could do everything in this module and just take out all the Tharizdun stuff and leave it as the Elder Elemental God. He's got a cult and they want to free him and all that other stuff. You could do that and it wouldn't be nearly as bad. But because they felt the need to just pry it open and jam in Tharizdun for no good effect, it really feels like it's a cheat. And a little more on this is, the iconography between the Elder Elemental God as depicted in Hall of the Fire Giant King, and obliquely in Temple of Elemental Evil, where the interdicted prison of Zuchtmoy has the same architecture and iconography as we see in the other Temple of the Eye. When you see that and compare it to the iconography and the architecture that we see in an actual Temple of Tharizdun, they're completely different. Now, yes, there are tentacles. and yes, there is purple, and that's where it ends. In the Elder Elemental Gods case, the iconography is much more specific. They have greens and purples and reds juxtaposed with each other. Pillars are a common feature across the temples. There are murals depicting the very specific amoeboid servants of the eye, with their own cilia covered tentacles. It's a very, very specific and very, very different thing than the sort of vague tentacles that we see here, and everything is in shades of purple and mauve, but you don't really see that same level of detail, or there are details, but they're also very different. The architecture is completely different. The temples are laid out completely differently. It really feels like a stretch to say that the one is just an aspect of the other, because they feel so very different. And I covered this on the blog a long time ago when I did a review of Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun. But that module is much more of a corrupting influence on players, whereas a lot of the effects that we see in the Temple of the Elder Elemental God, the Elemental Eye, is much more along the lines of insanity and destruction and so forth. So it's a very different feel and look, and I really think it feels like it was just put in there because he wanted to put it in there. There doesn't seem to be any reason to do it. It seems completely superfluous. You could have done it without it, and it just feels like Monty Cook just said, I want to do something with Tharizdun. Well, here's your assignment. Okay, that'll be Tharizdun. I honestly don't know the story behind the scenes of how the module was produced, but it feels tacked on, it feels unnecessary, and it goes out of its way to contradict a lot of things that had been written about Tharizdun and the Elder Elemental God beforehand. Perfect example. In the Return module, they make mention of the fact that the Temple of Elemental Evil used an eye with wreathed in flame as its symbol. Now, while we do see that in the Village of Hommlet module, you can see it there as on the tabard of Lareth the Beautiful, who is the guy depicted on the cover. That was actually a mistake. That was just Dave Trampier taking the Elder Elemental Eye, or the Eye of Flame, or whatever the description is, and taking it literally, whereas Gygax later wrote that was a complete misunderstanding on Tramp's part, and it was supposed to be a rune. Do I have it? I have it. The rune is supposed to look like this, with the triangle with the three smaller triangles within it. And in fact, in Temple of Elemental Evil, they correct it. They actually say this is what it looks like. And also in Hall of the Fire Giant King, they also say the symbol on the tapestry is a triangle with that has been trisected with three smaller triangles meeting in the middle. So it seems like a really basic thing to get wrong, that you're going off of one version of the module cover rather than the text that has been presented in several different modules, and you base a thing about that. It just speaks to it speaks to the fact that it seems like they didn't really pay all that much attention. They didn't really care all that much about the original source material. Monty Cook just had it in his mind. This is what he wanted to do, and who cares what happened before? We're going to bend it and twist it and make it fit. I really don't like the attitude. I would have much preferred had a much closer reading of the original material been done before this. This also brings in the elemental princes of evil. Imix is in this module in the fire node, and it's just so overstuffed and so unnecessary. If Imix had anything to do with if the Princes of Elemental Evil had anything to do with the Temple of Elemental Evil, then they would have appeared in it. But in actuality, they appeared in the Fiend Folio several years between Village of Hommlet and Temple of Elemental Evil. So they were kind of, they always felt to me like they were included in the Fiend Folio because somebody wanted to do something with his own version of the temple, and it seemed like a good thing to have. It would actually be really cool to talk to whoever designed them and ask where the impetus came from. But they were absolutely not associated with the original temple at all. And it just kind of speaks to this idea that Tharizdun is just everywhere and everything, and all things bow to him, and it's unnecessary. It's one thing to have a very powerful, hidden, chained god, which is a great idea and can be fodder for a lot of great things. But to have him literally be behind everything that's ever evil is just kind of lazy. And same thing with the elemental nodes themselves. In the module, the return, they're saying that the elemental nodes are the key to unchaining Tharizdun or something weird like that. Whereas in the original module, Temple of Elemental Evil, it is explicitly said they were created by Zuchtmoy. So which is it? Are they some ancient thing linked to Tharizdun, or did she do it? It just feels like they're trying to cram things in where they don't belong and don't need to be. So that's my big problem with. Now, this is falling more into the realm of a minor quibble, is that the big fortress of the cult of Tharizdun is the new resurgent temple of elemental evil, because it's Tharizdun, really, is in the Lortmil Mountains. And once again, this seems to me to mean that they haven't really read the source material all that closely. And what I mean by that is the Lortmils are the last place that you would expect to see an actively working evil fortress in a volcano, with a lot of evil activity and so forth and so on. And the reason for that is, in the setting, the Lortmil Mountains were cleared out of all the evil stuff during the Hateful Wars, which happened several decades before the Gold Box era. And all the humanoids were driven out of the mountains, and they went down to the Pommarge, and that's why the Pommarge is so swarming with humanoids. And I realize that, that doesn't mean necessarily that no evil can exist there. But in terms of this massive fortress, which is just, it's so imposing and so obvious, that it would be very difficult to hide the existence of this thing from the forces of Selene or Ulek or Verbebank. It boggles the mind that the temple could have arranged all this stuff in an area that is explicitly said to be controlled by the forces of good. It's one thing in the forest, in the Cron Hills or the gnarly forest. That's kind of a border area. Nobody really claims it. It's in the, it's in the wilderness. It makes perfect sense there. But the Lortmils are specifically said, we cleared out all the evil. We spent 10 years fighting a war to get rid of all the evil stuff. And that's where our big evil temple is going to be. Honestly, it just doesn't make a lick of sense to me. There could have been other places to stick this evil temple. You could have done it in the Sus Forest. In fact, if I was ever going to run this, one of the modifications I would make would probably be to do that, move it into an area which is not noted for its goodness. Again, it just feels like the author, the designer, was just going to do whatever the hell he wanted to do, and damn anything that happened before it. And if you're going to make a a module that is explicitly a return to module, you really want to know the source material, the original source material, inside and out, and it really just doesn't feel like that is what happened in this case. If you're enjoying this video, please make sure you hit the like button, leave a comment below, let me know what you disagree with, what you do agree with. It's stuff like that that helps YouTube, boost my stuff. So interacting with the video is always a good thing. Please subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. That way you're gonna and make sure you hit the bell icon, because I just found out that if you don't hit the bell icon, you're not always notified when a video of a channel that you're subscribed to shows up. So make sure you do both of those things. If you like this kind of content, please go to my Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you get access to all kinds of cool stuff, exclusive videos. There's a bunch of stuff up there. You'll find the link below. You can also buy something from BRW Games, which also helps me out. Your support makes this kind of free stuff happen, because if I didn't have your support, I'd have to spend all my time making stuff for sale, and I honestly much prefer this. So back to the show. And one more thing that's it's a little irksome is with Prince Thrommel, who in the original Temple of Elemental Evil module was a prisoner under a illusion that he was a vampire, so that the PCs would be tricked into attacking him, but he was really a good guy. In return, Thrommel is a real vampire now. Hoo-ha! So what a twist! And it's just, it feels cheap and unearned and unnecessary. A big part of the original module kind of presumes that Thrommel makes it out. So, just stuff that seems like it's done after a superficial. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed my review of the module. And maybe I'll do something special when we hit 1,000 people. I don't know what yet, but I'm sure I'll think of something. If you have any suggestions, leave them down below. If you disagree with me, you think I missed something, if you agree with me, you want to point out some more things that you don't like about it, feel free. Let me know below, and I will see you.